Where's Mosquito Man? Okay. I'm about to make coffee, says Mobtown. Don't start without me. Well, I hope you're back from coffee, because I'm starting. Good morning, Mobtown. Good morning, Maddie. Good morning. Good morning, everybody, I guess. Okay, so, um, a quick, uh, a quick D note. We're gonna be going over, possible Friday streams topics, like as far as like objectives for the production stream. But they're doing some maintenance in the apartment, so the stream either will be intermittent or it'll be short and it'll end soon because it won't be possible really to stream if they're fixing stuff in here, both because of noise and because I'm gonna need to be talking to them. But good morning, Leona. Yeah, welcome back, Maddie. Hello, Honey Bubble. I hope it hasn't been that busy. Lindsay's asking what the song is. This song isn't anything. I'm just messing around before I play Spring Street. It doesn't have a name. Thank you for thinking it's nice. ticket. Oh, the maintenance guy's getting a ticket. That's unfortunate. It's street sweeping day. You gotta remember it's street sweeping day. Okay, Lindsay, you want to give that one a name so I can forget it? Some of those chords are in a different track of his, though. Can't put my finger on it. Well, the chords from this song are... So this. Then the second chord is this. And the third chord is this. I can tell you the songs of mine that have those chords in them. It's technically the chords from Beneath the City backwards, which starts here and works its way up to here. It's also in the song Reflection Pool. Reflection Pool goes like this. Yeah. But it has that same walk down. So they're also in that song. Technically those chords, not in that order, but those chords are in Flight Plan. Which starts here, and then goes here, and then goes here. So it's actually kind of in the same order almost. Versus very, very similar. Sounds like Gusts of Wind. Maybe it's because I've been playing too much Sky. Cyber says before your medley, can we get the keyboard 183 just to get it out of the way? How much you want to bet it has something to do with like bells? I feel like the last three are like Glockenspiel, Ogle, Music Box, 183. It's vibraphone. Yes, it's a vibraphone today. I do like melodies on vibraphone. It's giving me band flashbacks, says Oni Bubble. Okay. I will do a decent amount of the morning medley. I love this shirt. I'm looking at myself on the monitor. I love the way I look in this shirt. I think it's probably because I don't wear a lot of colors. And so this might be the most colorful shirt that I have. Interesting. Okay, Cirrus, another cloud name. I'll go with Cirrus, Lindsay. I'll go with that. That's solid. quick reminder. It does sound very similar. Momtown, you're absolutely right. Vibraphone, glockenspiel, very similar. Glockenspiel doesn't have some of the. I would say it's not as percussive. It doesn't have a big impact. In the spirit of 183, I'm gonna be playing a good majority of the medley today in 183, at least half. Can you really play too much Sky? Oh, I finally did beat Sky, by the way, Lindsay. I did the thing. I did the Eye of Eden. I liked it. While being vague, Lindsay, to protect anybody from spoilers. It was a surprise for me. About halfway through playing, the final moments of the game, I was like, "Oh crap! Am I gonna have to blink? And am I gonna have to do the thing that I think I'm gonna have to do?" And I was gonna have to do the thing I thought I was gonna have to do. Were you doing it alone, Lindsay? Were you doing it all by yourself? I wasn't gonna do it alone. If you would have, oh, never mind. I did it with my friend, but if you ever want to do it again, Lindsay, I'll do it with you. Also, Mobtown asks, quick question: you ever done city pop or future funk pieces, or even just slice sampling? Oh, Mobtown, you really should come into a production stream. Mobtown, did you know production streams happen? Yeah, it was very stunning, Lindsay. That game, that game, that game is. It shouldn't. It doesn't make sense that I can play that game on my phone. That doesn't make sense. That game should be like on the Switch or something at the very least. Mobtown says I miss them due to work. So Mobtown, because of work, you can never come into a production stream. You're always working on Fridays. Those are some hours, 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. How many lunches do you get during that, Mobtown? 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. Wait, what is that? Right, what is that? Was that 17 hours? Is my math okay? Is that 17 hours? Feels like more than 17. When I go to the ethereal part, oh wow. Well, I'm glad that you cried, Lindsay. Um, I didn't, but it was very pretty. It is a very pretty game. I'm regularly impressed by that game's visuals and score. Actually, I admire how simple the score is. The score is so simple, and it really only has like maybe 3 pieces total, with like a couple of variations of each 3 pieces, and I do like that a lot. Um, Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that's far larger in scale, was very similar in the way it was scored. Um, Only a few pieces, and then just kind of playing off of those for each individual mood you were looking for. It was good. I have so much to learn when it comes to scoring, especially as somebody that doesn't know music theory. It is kind of like almost an insurmountable like hill sometimes, scoring, especially to film and animation. But I'm getting better at it. Anyways, so Mobtown, Mobtown works every Friday right through the stream, so they can never come into the production stream. So Mobtown, those production streams are saved, so you can watch them later. I understand asking somebody to go out of their day to watch a non-live broadcast is a lot. So let's say you never look at a production stream, Mobtown, because your schedule doesn't allow you to. I'll answer your question. Yeah, I have made city pop and future funk, and I have made several tracks like those in the stream. I'm going to take a second to talk about city pop and future funk, because maybe not even just for you, Mobtown Tokyo, maybe for somebody in the stream that doesn't actually understand what those two things are. I want to take a brief moment to talk about them, especially since I just implied that I make them, which I'm kind of going to backpedal on during the explanation. This is true, Lindsay. This is true. Good morning, Easy Dora. Goodbye, Maddie. Maddie's leaving early, but Maddie's going to give us a Windy Wednesday, which I'll be able to accomplish just by playing Sky at some point today. So thank you for that. Easy likes my t-shirt. Thank you. This t-shirt is it's a Sorrow of Gamble shirt. It's a Sorrow of Gamble shirt. If you guys ever get a chance, that's gonna be my music recommendation for today. Sorrow of Gamble. It's hot. It's hot. I love it. Anyways, it's cool. Just a passing question. I'm trying to get ideas, inspiration for a future album. Word up, Mobtown. So about the City Pop Future Fun thing. So City Pop, for anybody in the stream that doesn't know, City Pop is kind of like a very Western informed. Okay. It's a very Western informed genre in Japan. So when I say Western informed, what I really mean is American informed, because America had disco. There are a lot of, I'm not going to get into American musical history, but I will say America had disco at the time, which took a lot of inspirations in itself from other things. You know, there was a lot of like funk stuff that was being infused in disco. There was a lot of even jazz stuff in disco. I mean, I know at the time, disco wasn't particularly appreciated and loved by musicians. It was almost seen as like a sterilization of real music. It was like you took really, really complex music and you simplified it. It's basically EDM of the 70s. Like, think of it like how I would perceive Chainsmokers. Like, I don't like Chainsmokers. I don't listen to Marshmello and stuff like that. But I probably have the same feelings towards Chainsmokers, Marshmello, as people in the 70s who were like true musicians felt towards disco, where they were like, oh, it's just a super simplified thing for the clubs for people to dance to. It's not particularly challenging, nor is it harmonically very interesting a lot of the time. So, that being said, disco influenced a lot of the developed musical world, you know, outside of the US. So if you look over in France, France still creates a lot of new disco, NU disco, which is kind of like a branching off from disco, where it still has a lot of those funky vibes. If you think of artists like Breakbot's a really good example of that. A French artist who makes this kind of funky disco infused sound that is not disco. If you play his tracks and you play disco, you can hear differences, but it's something that still lives on in France, whereas here, you know, people aren't necessarily making disco records. So that's where it lived off in France. In Japan developed something called City Pop, which was a more ballad-driven branch from like disco, 70s kind of house music. When I say house, I don't mean like EDM house. I mean like 70s house music, like what they were playing in like clubs then. So I'll type out maybe some recommendations for city pop artists and city pop tracks if anybody in the chat either doesn't know what I'm talking about and would like to know, or they already know they like city pop and maybe they want to find some new artists. So that was Japan in the early 80s, I want to say. Late 70s, early 80s. It was pretty immediate, you know, like as soon as disco was happening here, only a few years later, city pop started happening over there. So I'm gonna put like the golden age of city pop somewhere in the early 80s, since our like disco was kind of in the late 70s. So early 80s is when city pop's really like going in Japan. And then 30 years later, 30 some odd years later, people in America, mostly young people, like kids, discovering city pop for the first time, just started sampling it. And when I say sampling it, I don't even mean like sampling it in like a cool hip hop way. I mean just straight up like taking the song and then putting a fatter kick underneath it, and like compressing it so it sounded really loud and compressed. And they re-released those as original songs. Now, there is a lot of ethical stuff in here that I've talked about in the stream, how I don't really like for these reasons. Ethically, I don't like it. As a genre, as music, it sounds fine. Ethically, I don't like what's going on there, but that's what's happening. I'm just trying to say this without any type of spin on it. So a bunch of American artists and some artists around the world, because like if you think about artists like Macross isn't American. Macross is from Mexico. Did the same thing. There's also some artists like if you think of what's homie's name? Um, Android 52. Android 52 is from Germany. Also does the same thing. Hi Leo kind of sometimes dips in that. Hi Leo's from Denmark. Wow. Wow, my memory is sick, by the way, guys. I haven't talked to most of these people in years. But anyways, point is, now St. Pepsi's a little bit different. But I'm glad you bring him up because, oh man, boy, is this a nightmare. Okay, so Future Funk, a lot of the time, what a lot of these people were taking city pop tracks, you know. Oh, Young Bay is another one. Would just take city pop tracks, so taking Japanese tracks from the 80s, putting a kick underneath them, and then renaming them, and releasing them as fully original songs. Now, there were some different branches of future funk. And the weird thing is, like, in future funk, in most genres, like, if I make a song, like, on Ego Death, I would call it ambient, because some of you guys have heard Ego Death, and Ego Death is ambient. 70s disco music is the best. I should be born at that moment. Yeah. We can appreciate it now. I agree with Cyber. It was given a bad reputation. It was given a bad reputation that I do think that it earned. I don't think it earned a bad reputation by being bad music. I think that it earned a bad reputation in the same way that art earns a bad reputation now, and just its fans, the world and environment that it lives in. Like, is hip hop bad? No, not necessarily. But sometimes people will have associations with hip hop that make them, turned off to it. Is country music bad? In my opinion, no. But there are a lot of associations sometimes with country music. So, jumping off of that detour and getting right back on track. Point is, when I make music, I can make music in a different style. I can make something that's really jazzy. I always use Winterheart as the jazz example. I can play something like that and I'm like, oh, this is jazzy. That'll go on a jazz album. Or I can play something else that's maybe a little more like classical. Like, this isn't a jazzy song at all. And this could be on like more like of a classical arrangement, piano compilation or something. And so I play it different. Now, when it comes to future funk artists, since they're not actually making the music, their genre differentiations come from the music that they're taking. So, for future funk artists, there's a lot of them that have that Japanese sound, and that's because they're taking Japanese tracks. For somebody like St. Pepsi was not taking Japanese tracks. St. Pepsi was taking a lot of American and some European older tracks, and then slowing them down. See, because in future funk you have the speeding up of a lot of city pop tracks, and then St. Pepsi was taking a lot of old American songs and actually slowing them down, bringing them down to around 90 BPM sometimes. And so there is a slight difference there, but I am glad that you brought that up, brought St. Pepsi, because he was also in that group, that weird like vaporwave, like repurposing of old stuff. And so the reason that I bring that up is because Mobtown asked if I ever created city pop or future funk, and I needed to say those to answer that question accurately, because I said yes, because I was just trying to get a quick answer out, because it was like a yes or no question. But now that I've explained kind of what those things are, have I made city pop? In my opinion, no, I have not. Because city pop to me is more than just disco infused, EP, Wurlitzer, guitar, bass, string, like disco strings, a brass section. It's more than that. There's something more being added. The fact that just the singer singing in Japanese, which I'm not doing, gives something that city pop sound. I don't necessarily think it's possible for me to truly make city pop. I can make things that sound like city pop or evoke the same moods or atmosphere as city pop, but me making city pop would be a statement that I kind of want to steer clear around. And saying, do I make future funk? On the surface level, I would just say, yeah, this is a future funk track, just because I want to avoid any type of debate in the moment. Hello, Space Boy. But in actuality, do I make future funk? I don't know that. I don't. I don't. Sometimes I don't know that I think of future funk as a legitimate genre. Yeah, maybe that's why I feel weird about it, because I don't think of future funk as a genre that's being made. I think of future funk as being a almost like nightcore, right? I think of it as another genre that already exists where you change volume and speed, and I don't know if that's a very gray area, right? I don't know if taking a song that's already completely made and then turning up the volume and then turning up the speed, I don't know if that makes a new song necessarily, you know? To me, it's akin to like if you get a piece of pizza and then you add a lot of hot sauce to it, it's still a pizza, right? Like you have a finished product, you know? Anyways, okay, point is, to answer Mocktown Tokyo's question, I make songs that sometimes evoke those same atmosphere, those same moods. I'll make like 125, like housey, jazzy stuff, and then I will sample my own jazzy stuff and chop it up. But I don't think it fits into the, I don't think it fits into the future funk thing. I think it's my own form of jazzy house music being sampled. I wouldn't call it future funk, nor would I call it vaporwave or anything like that. The reason I feel uncomfortable about vaporwave is vaporwave feels creative in its core, but it also feels in its own way kind of aggressive because it is the repurposing of existing things. It's like, oh, look at this old 70s Pepsi logo. Isn't that cool? Look at this old like Microsoft Windows 95 font. Isn't this cool? Like it's taking a lot of things that already existed, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just for me, um, it feels like a compilation and a montage, not montage, a collage. There we go. It feels like a collage of existing nostalgic infused art and aesthetics. It doesn't feel like a new thing on its own, you know? Like when somebody wears a hat that's got like the Arizona tea logo printed all over it and they're like, this is Vaporwave. And I'm kind of like, that's just merch for a tea company that still exists today. That's not, I don't know. Sometimes repurposing things that already, whatever. Point is, I think I answered Mom Town's question. And I also think I probably missed some other questions on the way, so I'm scrolling up just to make sure and try to sift through. Same Pepsi was more underneath the vaporwave scene, though, says Even Sub. At least that's where I found out about him. Same Pepsi was cool. That guy. Ryan's cool. Ryan's had like 3 different projects actually. I don't know if St. Pepsi is currently going on. It's weird. I can't. I love that dude, but I feel like whenever I talk to him, I can't figure out what exactly he is trying to do. Now it sounds like I'm just like ragging on him. I don't know. Like when he quit St. Pepsi and started Skylar Spence, I was actually really really happy for him because for the first time in his career and in my relation with him, he was actually making his own music. He wasn't just taking it from somebody else. I was like, oh crap! Like he was like recording guitars on the stuff, and his stuff had this super like disco feel, and I was like, oh, it's real. It was like when Daft Punk made Random Access Memories. It was like, oh, it's disco-y, but at least they're making the music now, you know, or at the very least executive producing instead of just taking, you know, American songs and kind of cutting them up. So I had that same level of appreciation, but then Ryan brought St. Pepsi back, and I was like, well, what are you doing? And then he has like a third thing, like Cash Wednesday. He was doing that. And so I don't really know what's going on with Ryan, but I wish him all the best. I did go see him. He played out here in LA late last year, and I went and saw him. Or was that this year? I think it was late last year. Anywho, Dar says, I've never seen the vitriol that disco inspired. Whoa. Really? Hmm. Not even hip hop. Disco Victor was terrible. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not going to challenge that at all, actually. Didn't expect my question to go into the in depth thought process. Neither did I, Momtown. But it was. Genres are tricky. And usually when somebody says genre, especially Momtown, if it's a foreign genre, I get really, like, dancey. I try to dance around that. If somebody's like, "Do you make bossa nova?" I'm like, I know these chords might sound bossa nova esque, but no, I do not make bossa nova. Nor would I ever feel comfortable even implying that around anybody who loves, listens to, makes, or appreciates bossa nova music. But yeah, that's why it turned into more of a long answer. I just wanted to clean it up. I don't want to say yes to that. I feel like I've heard enough future funk to have heard all the future funk at this point. Maybe one day someone will revolutionize the genre. Umbe, that's a really interesting thing you've said there. How would somebody revolutionize a genre that is in its core roots regressive? How do you revolutionize something, right? Like, how do you make something new when you're working with existing material? I had a fun talk with my dad. No, that wasn't my. I was talking to my dad. Me and my dad were talking about martial arts movies. This was years ago. And I remember I told my dad, it's weird that there's like no new ones, you know? Like technically you can see all of the kung fu films because they don't really happen anymore. Like sure, we have like martial arts films here and there, like fighting in them kind of, but like the true martial arts films, like they're not making any more of those. They're not making any more of the films where like people are like legit dying because they're doing some stuff where they're jumping off of a train. Like we have things now. We have like strings and harnesses now. So that old stuff doesn't really need to happen. But you could, in essence, see every kung fu movie in existence of the, of that specific brand. And I feel like that's the same thing with city pop. You can kind of listen to all of the city pop. City pop, even though there are some artists today that are like, oh, I make city pop. It's different. It's never going to be that, what it was. And so you can essentially listen to all the city pop. And since a lot of the future funk just mines city pop, there's a lot of future funk songs I've heard, guys, that just use the same song as their basis. Like, you've all heard the song Plastic Love, I don't know how many times. The song's good, it's a good city pop song, but there's like at least 10 future funk songs that use Plastic Love as their song. And they've all renamed it something else, but it's just Plastic Love. We all know the song, Anyways, so I don't know how you revolutionize something like that unless you just start making it, unless you start making it on your own, and then changing things. But in that case, then I feel like it stops being future funk and starts being a new original genre instead of one based off of sampling and music theft. Jazz and funk of the 70s, Easy Door is a fan. Whew. Okay, I think I've gotten through it. I'm primarily joking, but my bad for remembering. Oh. Remembering me, Mob. Nobody remembered Mob. Okay. Dar says, this is my first time saying Mob to my memory. Am I just weird? Oh, no, I remember Mob. But Mob isn't as regular as most other people, so I'm never surprised if somebody doesn't remember Mob. Okay. Sorry, I'm really trying to get to the bottom now. I'm like way up there. Future funk is a lifestyle, says Dar. Word. It has all the elements of nightcore, but a different aesthetic, says Even Sub. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Theft, changed BPM, aesthetic. That's just merch for a tea company. Don't let them hear you say that, says Lindsay. Yes. It's weird how much everybody like in the vaporwave community is like, Arizona tea. I have a friend who I'm not gonna name again because people in the stream are aware of her music. But when she moved here, the first place she lived here was with me, and she was so obsessed with vaporwave, and she was like, "Oh my god, I have to try Arizona tea." And obviously, me having been born in Arizona and have that was like nothing special to me. I was almost like disgusted with the weird obsession that a lot of people had with it for that time. Like, I don't think anybody actually liked the tee. I think they were just like, oh, the can, aesthetic, hee hee hee. I would love to wear this as a shirt. No, that's so weird. That's so weird. I don't get it. It's like a weird form of like consumerism. It's like, oh, I just want like the Coke logo as big as I can. Can I get a tattoo of like the Nike swoosh on my forehead? It was really weird. It was really weird. It didn't feel creative to me as much as it felt. Anyways, don't buy a bucket hat of the Arizona Tea logo. Do you consider Andy Warhol's art? Do you consider Andy Warhol's work art? As Liana. To me, I suppose. Do I consider it art? Yeah. Do I like it? Not really. I don't feel a way about Andy Warhol stuff, but yeah, it's art. It's art. It's art. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. Hey, do you want just pondering people's music choices? Do what you want. Just okay. It's like taking fries from Chick-fil-A with a sandwich from Popeyes and iced tea from McDonald's. Truly revolutionary food. Oh, I've actually tried to do that before. Not exactly that, but I tried to take fries from one fast food place and eat it with a burger from another one, and that did not work. Chibi Lucy's waiting on curry. Okay, just stay away from chopping and screwing older works. It'll never feel like mine. Umbe. Preach, baby, preach. Maybe take Jay Dilla-esque approach. The way he cut samples was so crazy and unique. No one could copy him. Okay, even said I'm really glad you brought up Jay Dilla. I'm actually, yeah, that's not a joke. I'm going to circle back around to that in a second. I just need to get to the bottom of this. Mobtown says Jay Dilla is dope. He's a heavy inspiration for me. It's literally just a can design. It is just a can design, Lindsay, and not even a particularly cool can at that. I have an Arizona hoodie, says Mobtown. Mobtown's not joking. But I actually love Arizona tea. That's that's funny. I mean, so do I. So do I. Okay. So Jay Dilla. Let's please talk about Jay Dilla. Everybody in the stream does know my opinions on sampling. If you don't know my opinions on sampling, I personally am against it. If I would like to make a sound, I try to find a way to make that sound without stealing being involved. Now, Jay Dilla comes from a completely different era of music. I don't know if any of you guys knew about what was it? It wasn't Africa Bambaataa. Who was it? Was it The Roots? No, it wasn't them either. I can't. Crap, who was the group? It doesn't matter. One of you guys is going to remember and then say it. Just know that I'm not going to circle back around and talk about it. But there was a group, had a lot of records, hip-hop early on. A lot of their records were samples. It was kind of in a weird gray area of music where hip-hop wasn't really looked at as a legit music genre. So a lot of people were sampling in hip-hop, and it wasn't really like the lawyers from freaking Capitol Records weren't exactly looking at it. Then as hip-hop got bigger, gained some notoriety, gained some clout, then lawyers started like digging through the old things, and they were like, oh, turns out you used a Ray Charles sample in this record 9 years ago. You owe us X amount of dollars. We're going to do the math really quick. Oh, turns out we're going to take your house. And stuff like that was happening. So, I've never been a fan of sampling. However, Jay Dilla is amazing. I feel like Jay Dilla, it's hard to take that stance with Jay Dilla because Jay Dilla like changed several genres actually. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but Jay Dilla, as some of the people are saying in the chat, because they're familiar with his work, is very, very good and very, very inspirational, very hard worker. Yeah, go for it with your question, Cyber. Maybe I can like poke it into the middle of this discussion. So another person along the same lines as Jay Dilla that I don't really like how often their names are put right next to each other, but their names are put next to each other. So in respect to that being a thing in pop culture, I'm going to also mention Nujabes here. I don't really like talking about Nujabes not because of Nujabes or his music, which is good, but more so because of his fan base, which is very different than the fan base of Jay Dilla. So, yeah, Lindsay News coming up. All right, so respect, Mob, respect. That's how I try to do most of my music too. Ooh, Mobtown. Oh my god, I can't believe you haven't come to one of my Friday streams. Yeah. Oh man, that's all I do. Okay, I was thinking Madlib, but yeah. Oh, word, even so, Madlib, Madlib. Okay, the reason that I didn't bring up Madlib is because Madlib and Jay Dilla, in my opinion, their fan bases are over here, and Nujabe's fan base is a little bit over here. There's a bit of a like a slash between the two, and I think it's because Madlib and Jay Dilla have a more hip hop appreciative fan base. Well, Nujabe's fan base isn't necessarily fans of hip hop. They're more so fans. They're like weebs and fans of anime. This is an insult. I know maybe my tone or the words that I'm choosing to use sound like it's insulting, but it's not. Rest in peace, Ninja Base, by the way. Yes, yes, you're right, Mobtown Tokyo. I mean, uh, Jay Dilla, didn't they die like the same year? Anyways, point that I'm making is Jay Dilla did the whole sample thing, but a problem. Yeah, I think they died the same year or something wild, or they were born the same year, something like that. It doesn't doesn't matter for the point that I'm trying to make right now, guys. The point that I'm trying to make right now. You're absolutely right, Lindsay. Now, a couple things that I want to say about Jay Dilla before I get into the whole Jay Dilla Nuja Bass thing is Jay Dilla again was making that music before a lot of like copyright claims and stuff like that had been established and widely available. Like the information for it was widely available. Now you can really figure out a lot of music. While back then, not as much. And also, what Jay Dilla was doing was wild. Now Jay Dilla, when you would find the sample that Jay Dilla used because somebody data mined it or because Jay Dilla just said it, this was the record I used, you would actually have a hard time. You would have a hard time figuring out what exactly happened, what he did, what was going on. A computer couldn't pick it up, a human couldn't pick it up. We had no idea what the sample was because Jay Dilla was working. Now, the difference between what Jay Dilla was doing and what Future Funk was doing, to me, are completely two different things. Jay Dilla. So, what Jay Dilla was doing was more akin, in my opinion, to what I do with drum samples. Now, I use on average in a song somewhere between 15 to 25 drum samples. By the time the song is done. And I'm including in these drum samples also wind chimes. Pretty much any percussive non-harmonic sound is what I'm going to be considering drums. So, anywhere between like 15 and 25 drum samples. When I release the project, people are usually hard pressed to go like, oh, that's that Vengeance snare that I heard before. Oh, that's the hi-hat from the Lex Luger pack. Because it's mixed into an ensemble that's so rich and the arrangement is so thick that you're not really drawn to one specific sound. Now, if you listen to a future funk track and you just hear some woman singing in Japanese, you can go like, oh, I know this song because I just heard an unbroken verse, a bar from the song, and I know this artist, I know this song. I can look it up right now and hear the original. Not necessarily the case with Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla was cutting and messing with samples in a way that, yeah, a lot of people have had trouble replicating. I think that Jay Dilla also, this might, I'm on a ledge here, and I'm comfortable on my ledge. Jay Dilla has also achieved Michael Jordan-esque legendary status, where even if somebody did come close to match or surpass Jay Dilla's sample cutting ability, people still would not feel comfortable putting them in the same conversation with Jay Dilla. That's how like high on a cloud somewhere Jay Dilla is. Somebody today, there could be like a 14-year-old kid today, has a SoundCloud account, has like an MPC, has like a few Akai controllers, and is cutting samples in a wild, insane way like that we've never seen before. But people still probably wouldn't put his name with Jay Dilla because Jay Dilla is like the pioneer of that. So when people heard Jay Dilla established this thing. Oh, Cut Chemist as well. Yes, Cyber. Absolutely, 100% yes. So, establishes this thing. And then years and years later, people that had listened to Nujabes start getting into lo-fi hip-hop. But what they're not understanding all the time is that, okay, so, oh man, it's always hard to speak anything resembling something ill of people that have passed. So I'm not going to say anything ill about Nujabes, because Nujabes was dope, a king. But Nujabes' sampling style was notably less complicated than J Dilla's. So much to say that the people that got into music by listening to J Dilla understood hip hop to a certain degree. People that got into music production from listening to Nujabes were hearing a 4-bar unmitigated loop of jazzy music, and they were hearing, kick snare hi-hat combo, maybe open hi-hat, every other measure. They were hearing that. And so when they approached production, they just kind of scanned the internet surface level for a jazz track, took a 4-bar loop out of that jazz track, and then put they did the thing. They did the thing that they heard. And in them doing that, it cut out this huge gap it inserted a huge gap in narrative between lo-fi hip-hop's early stages with J Dilla to what it is now. And people were just pooping that stuff out. And so I get that. I get that J Dilla exists in a bubble, kind of, for me. J Dilla exists in a bubble. Medley also exists in a bubble, because I think these people truly do understand the art form to a certain degree from a work ethic standpoint. And those people do have a sound. It sounds weird, but when did J Dilla make his samples? Did J Dilla get on the piano and play piano, then play upright bass, then play saxophone? Did he do that? No, he did not. He cut up samples. But does J Dilla have a sound? Yeah, he has a sound. And it's really wild. He has a sound even based off of samples he did not make. He has a sound because him cutting and messing with the samples is his sound. He's established a sound that way from years, right, of hard work and innovation. Now, a lot of the people now that are making lo-fi hip-hop, or what is classified as lo-fi hip-hop, don't quite have that same sound. A lot of them kind of sound the same. I've heard the same Nat King Cole song turned into three different lo-fi hip-hop tracks that sound pretty much the same. You could tell me anybody made those tracks. So that's my point. I think when it comes to sampling, I'm usually a little I don't really like music theft. I don't like taking something from somebody, so I'll just make it myself. And I think that my music, if you listen to Lush Dream, right? You listen to my song Baby Be Less, or you listen to Groom Cake, or you listen to Flower District, or you listen to any of those songs. If you listen to any of the stuff off of Lush Dream, which falls under the lo-fi hip-hop umbrella, is it going to sound sonically so different than anything else on the lo-fi playlist on Spotify? No, it's not going to. The thing that makes my lo-fi hip-hop, quote, 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 my own, is that I sat down and I made the samples. I played the piano parts. I got upright bass sample libraries and played out the bass notes. I drummed out the jazzy drum patterns on my drum sequencer, on my MIDI fighter. And then I sang on it. And then I sampled it and started cutting it up. So while it sounds similar to somebody else, ethically to me, it exists in its own place because everything there belongs to me. I created everything. Okay, Momtown says, what do you got any ideas on my Twitter? I'll take a look. Ooh. Most lo-fi falls flat in terms of creativity. I would agree, even so. I think, like I just said, in the finished product of the songs I made that are classified as lo-fi, I also think that they fall flat. I think that the work that I'm putting into my lo-fi tracks exists in the early stages because I do have to make an entire song in order to sample the song, which is like at least 2 days sometimes tacked on to the creative process of making these records that people aren't going to hear in the end unless they just know, you know. Okay, I think I got to the bottom of that. Thank you guys for being patient during that. Hi, Cause. Wow, long time no see. How are you? What's the fastest BPM song you've composed, Omni? How fast was it? 200 BPM. It's the song Swerve and Protect by me and Fuge off of the Speed Dream album. Been doing fine, Cause. How have you been? Wow, that's such a good take. Even so, wow, that's a good take. Hi there, hi there. Hi there, hi there. This really weird thing happened. Okay, so when I was reading that music theory book that I got from the library, there's like little like lesson plans in the book, which is kind of cool. Where it's like, okay, we taught you a thing. Now, point to the A key on a piano, and I'd get it wrong and it would be fine. But at one point in the book, book, maybe towards the middle of the book, they were like, analyze this piece of music and tell me what key it's in. And I tried, and it was complicated and difficult. And at a certain point, there's like a trick one, where it's like, analyze this piece of music. And they're like, actually, there's two answers. It could be in this key with blah, 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 or it could be actually in this key, yada, 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 yada. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't care anymore. It turns out I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I realized very few people ever ask me what key my music's in. And when they do, I say, I don't know, and then the conversation's over. I think that if I were like playing with an orchestra or a band that were classically trained, that information would come in a lot of handy. But after I looked at that thing in the book, I did start playing some of my songs, right? I did start playing my songs. I was like looking at it. I started actually playing my music and I was going, okay, what key is this in? I was trying to analyze my own music and I got so frustrated halfway through because one, I couldn't find the key of some of my songs. And two, I I didn't care. I think everything's so much harder to do when you don't care. Like, have you ever really truly wanted to do something? I remember when I wanted to make fried chicken. And I failed, guys, so many times. But the reason that I succeeded eventually is because I cared so much about making fried chicken that I wanted to make it my own. I wanted to make my own fried chicken. And so I kept persisting, and then I finally did it. And when I did it, it was rewarding. But then I think about things like history in high school. American history is something that I've never particularly cared about, particularly the way it was portrayed in high school, so I didn't care. And when I was getting bad grades or things wasn't, oh, he's leaving the car on the roof, he's leaving his cup on the roof of his car. He's going to drive away with it on the roof of his car. Oh no, maybe he'll remember. Oh, I don't think he's going to remember it's there. Guys, he's got a cup still on the passenger side of his car. Oh no. Oh wait, there's a dog in there. Oh my god, he forgot it. It's gonna fall off. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, hope there wasn't anything important in there. I think it's coffee. I've talked to him before. He usually has coffee in the morning. Sorry, what was I talking about? I hate that there's a window here. This should just be a blank wall. I think it's bad for the stream. It's bad for stream consistency because it is very distracting. I love that chord progression. Oh, I was talking about keys, right. So I was like, it doesn't, in school I didn't care about things, so things are harder. And since I didn't care about figuring out what the key of my music was, it made the task so much less rewarding. Even when I did like figure something out, like, oh, this song's in this key, and I like thought about it, and I was like, man, that like super doesn't matter to me. It just sucks. Yeah. Keys and BPMs. BPMs is another thing. I love BPMs, particularly because of the whole halftime, full-time thing, right? Where it's like a lot of my songs. Because if you open FL Studio, FL Studio, the default BPM is 140. So I didn't know that that was fast or slow. I just thought of 140 as being like the default Earth BPM, the BPM of planet Earth. And then anything over 140 was fast, and anything under 140 was slow. And that's because the DAW I was working in said 140 for whatever reason as the default. That being said, though, when you listen to a lot of my earlier music, the BPM for them is 140. If you listen to Bon Bon, it's 140 BPM. If you listen to Sugar Glider, it's 140 BPM. If you listen to Bumblebee, it's 140 BPM. Because I just didn't change I would open FL Studio and I would just start making a song and it would just sound right because that's what I thought the default Earth BPM was. But whenever you hear a halftime break in those same songs, it's 170. And sometimes I would write entire songs and halftime, which means that the BPM of the song was technically 170, which is half of 140. I'm sorry, 70. Technically the BPM was 70, which is half of 140. And so sometimes when you plug it into like DJ, equipment, or when I would plug it into Serato Itch, which at the time I was using, it would read some of the songs as 70 that were actually 140. Some of the songs that were 140 were read as 70. Some of the songs that were 180 were drum and bass, because when I write that fast of a BPM, usually I will go halftime and make it drum and bass, boom, cap, boom, cap, boom, cap. And so the software would register it as, instead of being 180, it would be 90 BPM, which is annoying sometimes when you're DJing in 180 and you're playing a bunch of 180 songs and you're looking for the drum and bass song, then you have to go down to 90. It's just a nightmare. So yeah, BPMs don't matter. They don't exist. They're whatever. I feel the same way about time signatures. I can't remember who in the stream said that, but connected with me. GB Lucy says, my music theory knowledge is all from choir, so I'm kind of opted out. Oh. More up, isn't that different? I'm kind of the opinion that it doesn't necessarily matter what key something is in as long as you listen to what sounds good. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, like, I can hear when something's out of key, right? Lindsay, I can hear when something's out of key. Something else I want to talk about, because it relates to my conversation yesterday about white keys and black keys. The only reason you need to know what key your song is in is if you think in scale degrees, which is what jazz musicians are always doing. I love Even Sub in the stream. I love Even Sub in the stream so much. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Scale degrees. Oh, wow. That matters. Okay. For BPM, it seems more relevant because it determines the pacing of the song. Like, for example, when I'm deciding to the BPM I should go to for this BPM calculator and just tap what I hear in my head. Yeah, for sure. Whatever number comes out of the BPM I choose. That's interesting, Lindsay. That is a thing that I didn't used to do. Looking at the digital BPM up in the top, it shows up in digital numbers. You've seen FL Studio. I don't like it when that number is not a multiple of 5. So sometimes when a BPM sounds good to me at like 123, I'll be like, I'm gonna make it 125, even though it sounds a little too fast. I just didn't like having BPMs that weren't a multiple of 5 until pretty recently. I think I started a song the other day that was like 137 or something, and I was like, this is fine. I'm trying to do that more. Also, I come from a background in playing with DJs, right? Like, usually when you look at my lineups, the lineups I appear on, I'm not playing with live bands, I'm usually playing with DJs. And when you're playing with DJs, the crowd doesn't necessarily like silence in between songs. So I would be playing for an hour straight. And when you're playing for an hour straight, especially after and before other DJs, you want to have the transitions from your songs to be somewhat smooth, like a DJ. And so I would try to avoid having too many songs that weren't in the same BPM. So if you look at my discography, it's a lot of 125, it's a lot of 128, it's a lot of 140, a lot of 120, a lot of 130, and then there's randos in there that are like, this song's 93 BPM, especially like on like a Lush Dream. There's a lot of like weird BPMs, but for the most part, it's like a huge chunks of the same BPM, so that when I'm playing live, it's like, oh, if I'm playing Catching Up, that's not Catching Up. If I'm playing Catching Up, if I'm playing that, what? if I'm playing catching up, I can go into the view. The view is the same. The view is the same BPM as catching up. And then the view is. All right. I don't remember my own songs. Anyways, they're the same BPM. So I can play those two. Also the same BPM as 1/million. It's also the same BPM as my Tokyo Drift remix. So like usually I remember my songs in chunks of being the same speed, so I'll play them after each other in a show so as not to confuse the audience. Like you can tell a jazz musician says even sub 6-2-5-1 in the key of F, and they'll know exactly what you mean, but if you told them each individual chord, they'd slow down. I love that. It's like machine learning. I've been wanting to get into music, probably starting with covers, but I was worried about all the technicalities of it. Interesting discussion, says Chibi Lucy. Never get worried about stuff like that. There is no technicalities. The technicalities are optional, Chibi Lucy. But even so, to what you're saying, that makes perfect sense because... Let me try to think of an analogy where this applies to me. Okay, you know hot dog and hamburger? Remember in school, if you went to school with white people? I went to school with white people for the latter half of my academic career. And I remember them telling us to fold paper, and they were like, make sure to fold it hamburger style or fold it hot dog style. If you don't know what I'm talking about in the stream, it's basically long ways, or like having a piece of paper, folding it over horizontally would be hot dog, folding it vertically would be hamburger. I think it's stupid. I think a lot of people probably think it's stupid. It's fine. It's fine. Point is, we're not talking about paper. I'm taking that analogy and I'm taking it all the way over to DDR. So, when I was like at the height of my DDR career, yes, I'm gonna call it a career. I was part of a DDR team. And oh god, man, that's so wild. Sorry, I miss like middle school. Anyways, I was part of a DDR team, and we were all pretty good, pretty freaking good. And there was this thing called DDRfreaks.com or something. Hold on, I need to see if this website still exists. There's this thing called like DDR Freak. And it was a website that still exists. Oh my god. It hasn't been updated since 2011. Oh wow, this is bumming me out. Sorry. Wow. If you want like to see what makes me upset, look at this website. Sorry, okay, what was I talking about? Okay, so this is a website called DDR Freak. It's for like real DDR only. Real DDR freaks only. And I was one of them. I was one of the freaks, baby. Big old freak. Okay, again, my experience with one comes with... Okay. Listen. So there's a website called DDR Freaks. This website had a section on the site where you could look up DDR machines. Where it like had DDR machine locations and somebody was updating them as they were being told about them. And you could get step charts, guys. You could get step charts. There is a section of the website where if you typed in like Afro Nova or I don't know, B4U, or you typed in the name of a song, you could print out a step chart. And so what I would do is I would go up to this website in the library, and I would, like just the public makes library, and I would print out step charts. And me and my friend Anthony would learn. We would just like, if we were like bored in class or whatever, we would just like look at it and like left, right, down, right, left, right, down, right. And you're memorizing the step chart so that when you play the song, you can like play it with your eyes closed. You can turn around and do like stunts. So we were like kicking our legs like over the, so stupid. Just keep in mind as I'm saying this, I know it's stupid. Okay, I don't think this is cool anymore. But at the time, we're like doing like spin moves. I'm like jumping over him like leapfrog, and then we're like kicking over like the bar that you need for support, and we're like doing all this stuff. I like climbed up on top of. There's a point where I like climb up on the shelf of the like. There's like little shelves on the side of the DDR machine, and I would climb up on the shelf, and then like step on his back, and then step and like land, and we're doing like this like pogo spin move. Anyways, a lot of DDR freak people had come up with terminology specifically for step charts. Xenius the Vanisher had a new website for machine locations in the US, FYI, if you ever want to relive the discovery of local places. Like, word up. Thank you, Cyber. So, yeah, we were doing a lot of stunts, and the reason we were able to do the stunts is because we had the arrows memorized. So we would memorize the arrows, and then we would meet up and actually go over like choreography and be like, okay, so right here there's doubles, you know, left, right. And so instead of having, us hit them straight, I'm gonna be over here off the thing, and I'm gonna hit the left with my back hand. You hit your left, right, and then hit my right with your left hand. Like, it was just like a whole thing. There was choreography. You couldn't have the choreography unless you had the step charts memorized. You couldn't have the step charts memorized unless you had codes. Now, our codes were like, we would use hot dog, hamburger, and like these terms in order to learn step charts. So we would be like, okay, like it's like a hopscotch double. There's like hopscotch doubles where it's like up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. We'd be like, okay, so it's hopscotch double, hopscotch doubles. Hot dog, hamburger. We had diagonal hot dog, hamburger. We had twisties. There was like a lot of like terminology we had come up with for groups of arrows. And so when you're telling somebody the step chart, instead of saying, oh, okay, the steps and the arrows in this song are left, right, up and left at the same time, down and left at the same time, up, down, right, down, long break, speed change, hold down. Like, we had terminology for it. And so when Even Sub is talking about jazz terminology, like if you tell somebody it's a 6-3-5-1 or whatever they said in the key of blank, it is shorthand so that they don't have to know each individual chord. And we had a form of shorthand so that we didn't have to learn each individual or say each individual arrow or step that you had to hit. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Anyways, was a freestyler back in the day. Did you ever Matrix walk? Yes, I did. Oh, man. Cyber, do you remember Team A? Does anybody remember Team A? Oh my god. Oh, I hope those videos still exist. Anyways, okay, I'm learning new things about DDR today, says Chibi Lucy. Oh, love these streams. I always learn new things, says CC Dora. This isn't a cool thing to learn. I think, it's chunk memory. Chunk memorization. I love it. I used to look at videos, Cyber, of Team A. Every day. I'm at school, it's lunchtime, I'm going into the library to like be on the internet and look up videos of Team A. It's after school, I'm going home, I'm studying videos of Team A. I'm actually seeing some of the same people playing DDR like in several different videos, and I'm like, oh, I'm a fan of that one. I've seen that one before. I know what you can do. Oh, this is the killer right here. Like this move right here, this kills it. Like I would look at those things, and I would always think, that's wild that these people do not know I exist. It's like some random like 19-year-old kid in Japan or something that's just really good at DDR and has no idea that he's like inspiring some random black kid in Arizona that's like, oh, this is what I need to do. I need to get like an Adidas tracksuit and like spin around, like I jump like I'm on a pogo stick or something. Okay, I love the specific nerdy niche community. Yeah, it's weird. I didn't get notifications from the channel at first since, you know, YouTube's bell thing is stupid and I've been unfortunately missing out on these. Well, I'm glad you're in this one, Chibi. I'm glad you've made it to this one. Oh, did somebody dislike the stream? Oh, somebody did. I'm sorry, whoever did that. Maybe it's because I haven't been playing enough and they're, like, uncomfortable. I can start playing now. You didn't have to dislike the stream. You could just ask me to play. Okay. I need to make this... Okay, cool. The chat went away for a second. I got it back. Man, my neck is so messed up. I skipped my workout this morning because my neck hurts and I didn't want to make it worse. You actually don't, Chibi. Not unless the machine's really old and poorly maintained. You can actually play really, really silently just by, like, lightly stepping. You don't have to stomp it. But yeah, if there's a machine that's poorly maintained or it's really old, you do have to kind of... You have to stomp the heck out of it. DDR machine. Ooh. When, like, the arcade gets the new, like, it's a new cabinet and everything. There is an arcade in Arizona called Golfland. It was actually like a putt-putt course, but they had a giant castle in the front where there was arcade games. And I can remember there was 3 DDR machines in the building. There was a 4th mix, a DDR 4th mix. There was a Max 2. There is a 4th mix, a Max 2, and an Extreme. Those are the 3 DDR machines. And I can remember one day they got rid of the 4th mix and they got a new cabinet, and it was Supernova. DDR Supernova. And I remember literally nobody was in line to play Max 2. All of the cool kids and the people that were really good at DDR were like in a line like of 8 people long to like just wait and play DDR Supernova. And for us losers, it was like, oh sick, the Extreme and the Max 2 are just open for grabs. So we like played the heck out of those and waited for a lot of the cooler kids to get bored of Supernova because Supernova 2 came out. And so then we started playing Supernova. And then DDR X came out and we started playing Supernova 2. Me and my crew were never really like able to play the current DDR machine at Golfland because there was this group of dudes that were like way good, like not fun good. Like we were fun good, you know. We had like a good time on there. We're like laughing and giggling. They're the type of dudes that had like they're like dripping sweat and they have like a headband and they're like. Their entire body is like rested on the bar and their feet are just like they're wearing like DC shoes. I'm like I want to play what's that song? Max. I want to play Max 300. And I was just like, this song's not even fun. We're trying to play songs that sound cool, like dancey songs. We're trying to play the songs that are just hard for the sake of being hard, which, you know, I mean, if that's your thing, do your thing. Do your thing, if that's your thing. But it wasn't my thing, so we didn't play with them that much. And then I met, what's her name? Dippy? I think it was Dippy. She, like, liked my friend. Sometimes she would, like, let us play with her, like, leftover credits. Anyways, she ended up being trash eventually, but she wasn't bad at DDR. She had like a weird thing about cheese. She was always eating cheese. You know those like little cheese in the packet, like the string cheese? She was always eating cheese. Breath just reeked of cheese. She was cute though, but didn't matter in the end. Anyways, DDR, yeah, memory works in chunks. So we would memorize whole chunks of arrows, and that's how jazz people memorize chords and keys. I don't know. The weird thing about vanilla is it is just a series of chords. Like the melody exists in the chords, so I feel like I couldn't stray from the chords too much. Ooh. Yeah, there is. Good morning, Huey. So I just go back and forth between the first and last notes on the right hand. You've done this before. The first and last. It's fun to just go back and forth between the first and last notes on the right hand. I'm lost. First and last notes. I don't know. I was just having a crisis because my tips from work got pulled with everyone else's tips for the whole week. I got so much less because that was before we got tipped. I'm so stressed. I'm sorry, Keely. Hopefully some of that stress dissipates. I'm sorry about your tips, though. So on the right hand, the furthest note to the left of a given chord and the furthest note to the right of the same chord. Oh. So any chord is just two notes. Oh crap, 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 crap. Like that? Like that? Huh? Oh, okay. Oh, I see it. I hear it. That part reminds me so much of the thing in uh, uh, Close Down, where it goes. I think it's because it's that same chord. I think it's I think that's why. Where it's like, wait, how does it go? That chord. It's very similar to the like. It's the same chord. That's why it sounds similar. I figured it out. I found the mystery. Okay, I was opening up FL, so I just got a really glitchy and buzzy rendition of Vanilla. Oh, that's funny. I'm glad that happens to you, Umbe. Yeah, when I opened up FL, like all of the other audio on my computer goes haywire. Momtown just says torrent, because I had torrent for a long while, and I bought it because it kept glitching and crashing randomly. Well, my FL Studio doesn't crash. Oh, yeah, word up. Yeah, when it like opens up, it just takes priority, and every other sound thing on the computer goes like, no, 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 don't play, don't play. Tivana flavor, Youthberry. Is that a thing? Chibi? Chibi? Is that a thing? Youthberry? Is that a thing, guys? Why is Kiwi talking about that? Is that a thing? What does it sound like? I mean, taste like, sorry. What does it taste like? Wow, what a good song title, Youthberry. This song is called Witchy Song. Oh, I'll play it on 183. I thought I was going to be able to get by with the free FL Studio, but you can't even reopen project files with a demo. LMAO. Yeah, you can't. It's really a demo in the truest sense. But to answer Chibi's question, asking, is FL easy to figure out? Well, we're all different, Chibi. We're all different. Is it easy to figure out? Chibi, I want you to I want you to think of FL. What is this? Ooh, that's pretty. I'm gonna do that on purpose next time. Okay, so um, listen, 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 listen. FL. I want you to think of FL Chibi as a skateboard. Think of it as a skateboard. Is a skateboard easy to learn? I don't know. You can probably kick and roll around on it. That's the beginning, right? That's step one. But does that mean that you're Tony Hawk after a couple of weeks? No, 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 no. It's a very vast thing. You can learn a lot of stuff in it. And you can tell somebody, hey, I skateboard, I'm a skater. And they're like, can you do a kickflip? And it's like, no, but I'm still a skater. And you'd be right because you still skate. So, Chibi, to answer your question, is FL Studio easy to learn? It's a sliding scale. If you get into it, you're probably going to leave a day in FL Studio with more knowledge than you had when you opened it up. But you're probably not going to be, pooping out, um, I don't know, Dead Mouse level songs in a week or two. It's going to take some time for sure. There's even things in FL Studio that I, Chibi, after having used it for so many years, there's a lot of things that I don't even understand or truly know how to use or feel comfortable with. But there are a lot of things in the program that I feel comfortable enough with to make a career out of it. So yeah, you can learn it. But is it easy? Just keep in mind it's going to take a long time. But you're going to become better very very gradually, maybe even faster than you think. So the fruity edition is so limited, so I gotta spend $199 for the good producer one. Yeah, but $199 is actually really cheap for a DAW. So we're lucky here in the FL family. Why is everyone's icon lavender? There is a lot of lavender floating around, Liana. I can't see what the actual images are, but there is quite a bit of that happening. I have the producer edition, says Mobtown Tokyo, pretty dope. I agree, Mobtown Tokyo, pretty dope. Most of my favorite musicians, producers have FL, like Savant and DJ Joe. Word up. Yeah, it's good. It's a good program. It's a good program. Jumping into FL, having no knowledge of music production, I would have to learn where everything is and experiment a lot. I mean, that's true with anything. Yeah, Kiwi, that's true with anything. Jumping into FL Studio without knowing how music production works, you would have to learn where everything is. Stepping into somebody's kitchen, when it's not your kitchen, you have to learn where everything is. Where do you keep the forks? Where do you keep the pots and pans? How does this oven work? Is it a gas stove? Is it an electric stove? You know, you just have to learn that stuff, but it definitely shouldn't be intimidating for anybody. I think that a lot of people's problem with FL Studio, or any DAW for that matter, is they're opening the DAW and they're listening to the music they like. Like they've been listening to K Tronada like all week, and then they open up the DAW and they're like, all right, let's get cooking. And they're thinking about the finished product instead of thinking about the tools and the path that lies in there. So stay the course. Momtown loves the color lavender. Word up. Deadmau5 uses Ableton and a bajillion modular synths. He does now, but he didn't always. Liana, but you're right. He does now, but he didn't always. He did not always. He did at one point use FL Studio, and he also at one point used nothing but soft synths and did not have a lot of modular stuff. And that's when I was listening to him. I currently don't listen to Deadmau5 anymore, so whatever he is making with all the big modular synths, I can't really speak to, but yeah. Now I would say that Deadmau5 has like a lot of arguably unnecessary stuff. FL Studio Gang for Life, says Nicholas Gonzalez. Hi Nicholas, I didn't even see you in the stream, but welcome, and I'm glad you're part of the family. Making music in FL is like playing a video game. I agree with this, Nicholas Gonzalez. It's definitely a little bit more playful and visual as opposed to Ableton. This isn't a knock towards Ableton, but I think Ableton is a little bit more of a sterile view of music production. If you're putting delay on something, there's simple numbers and a couple of lines explain to you what the delay is, how the feedback is coming. You turn some knobs. You try to use delay on FL Studio, there's like a picture that shows you like what type of room setting your reverb is in, and there's like it's just a little bit more fun and user friendly and visual. I think FL Studio is very visual as opposed to some other DAWs like Ableton. It's very colorful as well. Okay. Pastels for Life, says Mob Down Tokyo. That's what I'm struggling with, the track I'm working on right now. Um, I don't know if the moment has passed, but now I gotta see what's in Youthberry. Now hold on, it's gonna bother me. Youthberry. I'm pretty sure it's because I was slandering subscription services like Adobe. Oh, boo! Yeah, I don't care for Adobe. I do like that FL Studio, and this is a thing that I always stand by FL Studio. I know I'm a little biased because one, I've been using it my entire career, and two, I am sponsored by ImageLine. But I do like that when you buy FL Studio, you just get free upgrades for life, versus some other things where you buy it and when a new version comes out, you have to get that new version. Um, yeah. With as long as I've been using FL Studio, if I actually did the math and I divided those years into a dollar amount, it would be hilarious how little money I've spent on that thing. So, yeah. You've waited too long again for what, Lindsay? Oh, for conversation stuff. Where, yeah, we're about to close in hour two. These streams just fly by, don't they? Do you know of any good lo-fi bell VST? I need some for this track. Don't use a VST. Use a sound font. If you want something that sound, because like also when you're saying lo-fi, I'm just assuming you mean poor quality. It's it's really funny when like whenever anybody's like, yo, and this isn't directed at you, Mobtown Tokyo, but somebody will be like, yo, do you know any like good lo-fi piano sounds? And I'm like, do you mean just like bad piano, like low quality piano? Just record a piano and then degrade the quality of it and make it decrease the fidelity. So what you could do, Mobtown Tokyo, is just play a bell thing and then decrease the fidelity of it, which is a thing that I do a lot. I've actually, oh man, something I've done a lot of different things, but for a Lush Dream, if you've heard Lush Dream, I would export songs at a low bit rate and keep doing that like 3 or 4 times until it just sounds bad, and then I would sample that. But it didn't always sound bad. It just, I just decreased the fidelity. I think it's really funny that me and a lot of other people have chased like trying to make things sound lo-fi because for a long time we, meaning all of us producers, have been working with lo-fi instruments trying to make them sound hi-fi. Like I've had like a string sound on here and it's like, yeah, we know it's a tremolo string, but I would like for it to sound authentic. This sounds like a keyboard to me. I would like for it to sound real. I'm trying to increase the fidelity of everything, but now it's like I've hit this really fun crossroad where if I want something to sound lo-fi, it's a lot easier to take something that's high quality and make it sound low quality than it is to take something low quality and make it sound high quality. Oh, word up. Mobtown found one. Mobtown found a lo-fi bell pad. I feel that though. Still looking for good upright bass sound, says Umbe Bleeder. Umbe, Umbe, Umbe. Umbe, Umbe, Umbe. So let me talk about upright basses. So if you've listened to my music, I have upright bass in quite a bit of it. I even put upright bass in both songs that we made in the most recent streams, the like production streams. I think the trick to upright bass is not necessary, because I used to use sound fonts. You can use a sound font upright bass and that will be free. A lot of the keyboards that I have pretty decent bass sounds on it. The Yamaha, this obviously is That's not it, but I do like that. It just sounds like a. Ooh. Ooh, that's thick. How have I not been using this? That's so sick. What the heck? Hold on, guys. How's it go? That's so interesting. This is a bass sound, by the way. Doesn't sound like a bass at all, but I do like that. I can do something. I can do something with that. It's so funny. It sounds like video games. Anyways, what was I? I was talking about bass. Okay, so bass sounds. There unfortunately isn't any on this keyboard, like upright bass, but my Yamaha MX-61 has some upright bass sounds that are pretty good umbe, and I think you've heard them because I'm pretty sure you were in the production stream. But umbe Contact sample library has a really good upright bass, even with like weird like hand sounds, you know, like fret movement. However, it's a pretty large paywall to get Contact. It's like a few $100 for the sample library, I think, just for like the stock library. Another good one, you could probably get a specific bass sample library for Contact, and that'll play in the free Contact player, so you're not paying for all of Contact, you're just paying for the sample library. However, I understand, umbe, you're probably just trying to use like some quick upright bass for a track that you're working on, and it's not going to be like a whole sound of yours. So you're like, I don't want to invest hundreds of dollars into something I just need for a quick sound. So I would think about investing in sound fonts. Now, sound fonts, a lot of them are free, and I sent Lindsay like actually a list of sound fonts, but even if you just Google like upright bass sound fonts, you could probably find something in umbe. I heavily suggest using sound fonts because that got me through a lot of my earlier stuff. I think I have an upright sound font in my Nice Dream EP actually, but I recommend looking into that umbe because I am a big upright bass fan. I mean, that stuff's all over. I mean, the song that I just played, Love Letters, there's upright bass in that. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's the thing. Contact is on my future plugin list. Not an investment for right now, but maybe one day. I feel you, Umbe, so much on that. I feel you. Um, Contact is really good. I recently lost Contact, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab it again. Because there's a thing called Scarby. There's a thing called Scarby guitar, guys. It's like called Scarby funk or something like that, and it does the like. You know that sound? You know that sound that guitars make? I do like word movements that don't make sense to me necessarily. Oh, that's the topic I wanted to get to. So yesterday, I talked briefly about how when I first started playing piano, I would avoid the black keys because to me they felt like broken white keys. Um, um, it felt it felt they felt like white keys that had gone sour. I couldn't figure out how to make them work because I would play songs, you know. I didn't know any better, so I'd play songs. Like something like that. And then I played black key. It sounds off, and I'm like, how do you play black keys? I didn't understand enough about music theory or even in my own personal theory with music to incorporate black keys without them just sounding weird and pitchy. So with that being said, I couldn't understand how to use these. And then I remember eventually I started being able to use them and even like use chords that had them, you know, like if you think about Around the Pond, uses mostly black keys. So I learned how to use the black keys, and then this other thing happened where when we're thinking about songs being in a key, right? We think about well, when I say we, I'm projecting a little bit, but it's like somebody's like, oh, this song is in the key of A. And when I was reading that music theory book where they were trying to have the reader analyze pieces of music, like, what key is this in? I would go, oh, I don't know. And then the book would say, well, it's either in this key or it's in this key with these. And it would have like several answers kind of. And I think that the reason that was odd to me is because when I would first play music, when I started getting into what's an early song that I wrote? Let's say Spring Street. When I'm writing stuff like Spring Street, there's a lot of chords that wouldn't be at home here. Like I couldn't just be playing this and then go. I'm like, oh, that sounds bad. And then eventually I achieved greater levels, higher levels in my own mind of, I can make this work. Or like playing a black key, like, I can make this work. Or playing a weird chord and being like, I can make this work. A song slowing down or changing rhythm halfway through, I'm like, oh, that's fine. Some of you will notice that when I play this song, there's a slight rhythm change in here. It comes right here. Oh, sorry, now I have to start it over again. This is the first rhythm. like a to more of a. It changes the speed and the rhythm a little bit, but I'm okay. I'm okay doing that now because I've achieved mentally on the inside, not outwardly, but I've mentally achieved a level of music where if somebody throws something into music, I just accept it. I usually don't go, oh, that's out of key, or that's too fast, that's off speed, this is off rhythm. I kind of just go, oh, okay, I can work with that, and then I try to work around it. And that's why when I'm playing, a lot of times the rhythm or the speed at which I'm playing, the keys at which I'm playing are hard to analyze because they're just constantly changing depending on what I like. Sometimes I'll be playing a song, like I'll be playing Over and Under. Keeping the same rhythm, but now I'm just playing like I'm just moving around to different chords. Makes it harder to play with an ensemble, but if I'm just playing by myself, I can kind of do whatever I want, and nobody can come in and say, this isn't a song. Like this isn't a song because the key changed, or this isn't a song because the speed changed. It just kind of is music, and if it sounds fine, it's fine. Nothing like just doesn't fit. So with that context, now it's like, oh, not only do the black keys fit, or random like out of key chords fit, weird speeds fit, weird out of key notes fit. Everything just kind of fits, and I think it becomes harder and harder to analyze my own music because of that. But it becomes easier and easier to make music because of that. Because I'm no longer afraid of hitting certain things. Like I said in yesterday's stream, hitting two notes that were right next to each other, like that. I used to hate that sound. It sounds broken, right? Because of the dissonance is so. Ugh, it sounds almost like the piano's like needs to be tuned. But if you take those two notes that are right next to each other and you put notes around them, like that, or like that, and then you put a bass note down here, you have like a cool, pretty chord. I like that. In fact, that's the first chord in my song "Cold" with me and Azuriah Sky. And so once I got more comfortable hitting notes that were directly next to each other, it opened up a whole new world of different chords I could hit. Now I could hit these notes that sound not so great, and then just put chords around them, or notes around them. And that's the last chord in the Gucci Gang remix. So it's like once you kind of let go of like things having to fit or things having to make sense, it can actually open up some opportunities to make some really pretty or fun things musically. So something to think about. Mobtown is spitting the lyrics from Easy Go. I have that song stuck on my set since Mobtown. I'm sorry, Mobtown. It was fun making that one though. I feel like it's not music because blank conversation is the same as the argument people want to make for certain things in the context of art. Yeah, Jaime. Where's Gabriel been, by the way? I had a very interesting conversation with Gabriel, kind of art and the objectivity of it. But I agree with you. You know, just if it works, it works. Something that's really interesting to me that I didn't think about until super recently. And when I say recently, I mean in 14? One of those years. In 2013 or 2014, word up, Kiwi. Word up. I'm glad. Beauty comes in the absence of rules. They can guide you, but not let you define your decision. I 100% agree with this, even so. I played a show called Sun God. I still have the T-shirt from it. It's a festival that happens in San Diego. I played it in, I want to say 2014. It was before I lived in California, so California was still like a glitz and glamoury like fantasy land. I came out here. I played at a college festival. This college has a music festival, and like Diplo played, and Juicy J played. I played. Giraffage played, if you know who Giraffage is. Anna Leno played. I'm not going to say any more of the lineup, but it was a really cool festival. And something that was really cool about that festival was the current manager of Two Tone Disco at the time came up to me and was talking to me about like Bollywood songs, like like Bollywood music. And I was like, I really like Bollywood music. I feel like I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like their chords and their harmony is weird. And he was like, well, yeah, it is weird. And I was like, no, but I feel like it's something that, like, is it like, are their guitars different? Are they singing different? He was like, they're hitting notes that we don't hit. He was like, there's a completely different guideline for Western music and Eastern music. He's like, Eastern music literally hits notes that are between a lot of Western notes. So it sounds weird and alien to you, but to me, that's just how chords sound. And I was like, oh, okay, they're hitting notes that I just literally do not hear in Western music because their music theory is different and their instruments are even different. Like if you think about it like a sitar and the specific notes it's hitting, sometimes those notes can't be hit on a guitar without doing like weird tuning in order to achieve those notes. So that being said, when we're talking about rules and bending rules, like that's literally Western culture and education would teach you that those notes are out of key or they're out of tune. It's not an A, it's not a B. What is it? It's somewhere in between. And I try to remember that when I'm making music, going like, it's okay. It's okay for it not to be, the BPM to not be a multiple of 5. It's okay for the BPM not even to be a number. It can sometimes have like, because Fruity Loops will let you add a decimal. Like you can make a song that's BPM is like 128.763. You can make weird BPMs like that. Like, just make the music and don't necessarily worry about it making sense. Like, if I hit this chord and I hit this chord, maybe that doesn't sound good to somebody. But if I hear it enough times in context of it being music, or if somebody puts it in a song, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it is music. Just make the thing. Don't worry about it following some type of guideline or structure. I didn't know you could add decimals. What? Yeah, I've accidentally added decimals sometimes when like adjusting the BPM really quickly, and then I've like had to go in and like slowly scroll on my scroll wheel to get rid of them because it is kind of annoying. Yeah, you can make like 89.894 as a BPM. Yes, you can, Mobtown. Microtonal music is weird and hard to comprehend, I swear. Yeah, microtonal, that's another thing. Just make music, guys. Just make music and don't worry about it. My path was literally not understanding how to use black keys. I thought that they were like bad keys, and somebody that learned how to use them was a genius. And then going from that to literally just playing chord, 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 and then repeating that, it just is a song now, and people have to accept it as a song. Give Savage a try. He's an electronic producer who uses microtones. Sure. All right. I do like microtonal music. That's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. BPM 195.5. Yeah. It's stupid. It's really stupid. That could be a cool thing. That could be a really cool thing, actually. If you made BPMs like specific years or something like that. 1955. If you did that, I could do that. Anyways, I don't think about it all that hard, Umbay says, when talking about the guidelines or rules making music fit. Yeah, just, hit the keys. It's like a whole new world of music that's undiscovered. I think microtones could be the next step forward. For sure, even sub. I mean, it's something, you have to make something real before people will accept it as reality. I always have this like fun thought experiment. I always want to get on a time machine, right? Take me in a time machine. I want to go to get some Nashville hot chicken, that's taken years and cultures worth of spices and made a very, very spicy chicken wing. And I want to take that chicken wing and I want to go back in time and I want to feed it to like King George or something. See if he's okay. I want to see if he's okay after taking a bite of that. Or if he dies. And I'm, charged with murder because I poisoned the king. Would hot sauce be poison back in the day? Like if I went back to like the 15 or 1400s and I gave somebody hot sauce that lived in, like I'm gonna say Eastern Europe or like or the UK. Like, are they okay? Are they doing all right? If I give it to like a Swedish person, are they okay? Are they gonna die? Because I think they're gonna die. Because I think the only reason that I can survive eating that stuff is because I've had a lot of spices. Even as a kid, I've been conditioned. But if you lived in a place where you couldn't get spices, and then suddenly somebody shows up with a ghost pepper or like a Carolina Reaper, and you eat it, I think you're not okay. I think you're probably not doing so hot. You're probably dead. And so, taking that as far as sonic stuff, like if I took, like, if I went back in time on a speaker, and I know if I went back in time with a speaker, more people are going to be confused by the fact that there's a speaker than there is sound coming from it. But if I go back in time and somebody hears like a massive, like the VST massive, or they hear dubstep, like bro step stuff for the first time, they hear Zomboy, or they hear like old Skrillex, what do they think? Do they think it's an animal? Do they think it's just like some beast that they've never heard before? Do they think it's a dragon or something like that? Like, what do they think that sound's coming from? Because you need real life context for sound back then. Ah, that's wild. That reminds me of the myth that people in medieval times could never play a tritone. Oh yeah, devil music, because I think it was some of the devil. Yeah, because they thought it was some of the devil. That's fun. It's funny. I wanna go back and play that music. I wanna see if that would be okay. Yeah. They would think it was noise. For sure, Mobtown Tokyo, but how does your brain wrap around that noise? Right now, the Super Driver told me that that's new hotness over there. Is that true? The Nashville hot chicken thing? My Uber driver told me that's the new hotness over there. I mean, Nashville hot's been going on for a really long time. I don't know if I could ever refer to it as new. However, it is spreading. Jaime, like there's a lot of places now nowhere near Nashville. Like you can get Nashville hot chicken in New York. You can get Nashville hot chicken in Los Angeles. You can get Nashville hot chicken in Seattle. You can like get it way far from Nashville. But I think Nashville's really been on that for a long time. But yeah, I always like that thought experiment of the time machine because certain things require steps, right? They require steps. Years. If I look at the new PS5 graphics, I'm blown away. But I know it's not real. I know it's a video game. But if you lived in 1500s and somebody showed you, I don't know, an iPad that was playing a video of the PS5 new, graphic tech demo, there's so many steps that they're missing, right? They're missing screens. So, like, they're confused by the screen. They probably think it's a window of some sort. They think the thing is happening on the other side of your hands, maybe. Or maybe they think there's people trapped inside the screen. Maybe they think that video game are real people because there hasn't been the steps of animation and 3D graphics. It's like, I don't know how their brain wraps around that. And I'm trying to think if somebody from the year 4000 comes back and shows me something, what would they have to show me that my brain would not be able to comprehend? Because even if somebody showed me a hologram today, I could still do the leaps and steps to get to how that's possible. Or if somebody showed me a clone today, or they showed me a cyborg walking around and jumping and fighting, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. I've seen some things. I've seen the logical steps on how to get there. But back then, I don't know. Anyways, is it a chain or something, or is it a specific type of chicken? Oh, Jaime, it's just a type of chicken. It's a Nashville hot is the type of chicken. Think of like southern fried chicken. Southern fried chicken is going to be different than like a tempura fried chicken from Japan. It's just like a regional thing. And so Nashville kind of established this specific mix of spices and this way of making spicy chicken. And it's different than, say, if you got spicy chicken from Popeyes or something. It's just different. The spices are different. But yeah, it's not a chain. It's not a chain. It's just a style. Anybody technically could do it. This is something of a non sequitur. I saw an ad for a new chair on sale, but I never buy used office chairs because whoever was using them was farting in it all the time. I don't buy used furniture, Cyber, because I think people had sex on it. I'm pretty sure people had sex on the furniture, whether it's an armchair, a couch, even an office chair. I don't trust it. But I will buy the older I get, the less I'm inclined to buy used things, actually. I don't know what that is. I don't even like buying used electronics because I don't know how it was taken care of. I don't like buying used furniture because, there was sex on it. I don't really like buying used clothes that much unless it's a button up because the button up is going on top of a t-shirt. I very rarely buy used t-shirts. I don't know the life it had. I don't want that life on me. The idea of having sex in an office chair, says Chibi Lucy. Chibi, you gotta open your brain. You gotta open it. People are having sex in anything. People are having sex in porta potties, so an office chair is like a freaking penthouse suite for some people. It's a safe assumption, especially couches, says Lindsay. Yeah, it's very safe. It's all gross in my opinion. I'm glad Omni understands. Yeah, it's disgusting. Not a porta potty, says Lindsay. Come on, guys. Guys, wake up. I'll come in the stream. I'll come in the stream. I'll walk with you guys on the path, but you guys got to pick up the pace every now and then. You know people are having sex in porta potties. I don't need to tell you this. I don't need to give you testimonies. You know what's happening. I know it's gross. You know it's gross. People are gross. It's happening. I know someone will, but I don't want to believe it. Oh, believe it, baby. Maybe it's fresh. Not all porta potties are created equal. Have you been in like one of the really fancy like trailer ones, like when you're on set for a movie or a TV show, and their porta potties are like, it's like a full like trailer it's got air conditioning and there's mirrors in there. There's like a real sink. There's like plumbing. Have you guys been in those? Have you guys ever done like background acting work and they have the crafted service in that giant porta potty? They're like, oh, there's porta potties over there, and you panic for a little bit and you turn the corner. And you're like, this thing is the size of my apartment. I have one, says Mobtown. Yeah, the porta potties are literally the size of my apartment. It's insane. Anyways, just put a towel on it for the people or anything. Oh. Put a towel on it for the people. Nah, they ain't gonna do that. Yeah. Porta potty. I gotta go back to work, says Jaime. Oh. Well, I'm so glad that you made time for us, Jaime. And I hope you have a good time at work. I'm going to be winding down the stream soon anyway because we're approaching on 2:30, which is like my warning thing. People really be wild, says Jaime. People really be wild. Oh, man. If there's anything I learned from 2020, it is that people truly, undoubtedly be wild. Okay. Whoa, okay, alright, okay. I didn't finish, I've been trying to make a witchy sound fun. Wait. That's pretty funny. I avoid public restrooms, period. I have a champion's bladder. Well, okay. I admire that, you know. I don't mind public restrooms, but I understand that my experience in a public restroom is probably very different than Liana's experience in a public restroom. So, Liana's right here. I'm wrong. Oh, boy. Lindsay's trying to make my stream disgusting. Lindsay's trying to turn my stream into a pig pen. Lindsay, I admire your, Lindsay, I admire your, whoa. 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 Oh, that's gross. Sorry. I just realized I very rarely use my ring finger, my right ring finger, so if I tuck it in like that, I can still play my songs, but somehow looking down at this freaks me out a little bit. Anyways, he's freaking out. I am freaking out now. Oh, Christ. I know you weren't trying to, Lindsay. I know you weren't trying to. I was making a joke. I know everybody's egging you on. Uh, I really don't want this stream to be a trash bucket, like a lewd trash bucket, because it's a slippery slope, and Lindsay knows this, and I think that's why Lindsay's exercising some. Ooh, that breeze feels nice. Exercising some self-control and some restraint. I admire your restraint, Lindsay. I don't want anybody to be mad at Lindsay. We all know what the question was, by the way. I know what it was. And honestly, I think if Lindsay asked that question, the rest of the stream is going to be very messy. Abusive mod is sick. Abusive mod powers. Cyber's using the wrench for bad. He's using it to use killing curses. Anybody like Harry Potter? Self-taught musicians rise up, says even sub. Yeah. We're the best. We're the dopest. The chat has been derailed already, Lindsay. You gotta do it now. The chat's not derailed, Lindsay. Umbe is feeding you fibs. He's giving you the big fibs. Oh. God, human beings are weird. Anyways, you can ask it at the very end, Lindsay, if you really do, and if people are gonna keep bullying you, you can ask it. You can ask it at the very end before I end the stream. That way, it doesn't. I don't have to play through that because I don't want to play through that, and I want to play through that conversation. I don't want to put pretty chords on that. So I'm gonna go over news now, guys. I have 2 pieces of work. Only 2 in my entire career. The first one was called Quick Breath. It had on it. That song's called Not On My Watch. It also had a song on it called Closed Down. It also had a song on it called Follow Me. It features quite a few other artists, and I worked really hard on that. I worked really hard on that. So please go listen to Quick Breath. Also, it was followed by another piece of, another body of work called Ego Death, in which Vanilla lives. And what else is on? Oh, and Ego Death, the title track, Ego Death. So if you want to hear any ambient stuff or any like upbeat house R&B stuff, please go check out those 2 releases. They can be found on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. When we're on YouTube, I do have some videos up there. A lot. When I say some, I mean a whole heap ton. So go look at those if you would like. Earlier in the stream, I think Mobtown was singing the lyrics to my song Easy Go, which was the most recent quarantine that I made. So go check out Easy Go if you haven't heard that song yet. Okay. Now drop the bomb. It's time to drop the bomb. Can I get a quick answer? Says even sub. Yeah. When did you start playing piano or music and piano? When did you start playing music and piano? I'm gonna give you a really, really quick history. I'm not exactly sure what year it was, but I know my mom had a keyboard in the house. I think my mom wanted us to learn and play in like praise and worship. We went to church a lot. She had a keyboard in the house, and she had like Amazing Grace and stuff like that on sheet music, but none of us knew how to read sheet music, so it was just kind of there. I don't know. And then I remember I didn't play it. It just sat in the house for a while, and I'd never played it. And then oh, they're back. Anyways, and then way later, I ended up like noodling around with it. The way you noodle on stuff when you're bored and you're a kid and you've played all the video games you have, you kind of walk around your house and go, what else can I get into? And so I messed around with it in high school. When I say mess around, I really mean just like going up to it and like hitting like a few notes. It wasn't until like after high school that I truly, oh my god, he's getting closer. Anyways, so it was more of like a pastime, kind of like video games. Now, when I started making music, Mobtown, it was because somebody gave me a pirated copy of FL Studio. In high school, I want to say sophomore year. My memory is so trash. Anyways, I want to say it's sophomore year, maybe junior year, but somebody gave me a pirated copy of FL Studio 3 on a CD. And I opened up that. Oh my god, this answer's turning long. Because at the time, I was hanging out with some people that were like in bands, and he was like, "Here, you can mess around with this. It's cool. That's how I make beats." And I didn't have any knowledge, of how to use the program. The program just kind of comes with a few drum sounds, and it's FL3, guys. It was trash, and so I would make like little whatever things. I didn't know how to export to MP3. I didn't know how to import samples. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was slowly teaching myself subtractive synthesis. From then, I ended up returning to keyboard and learning more because on FL Studio, the piano roll is a keyboard. And I was like, oh, that relates back to that instrument that I already have. And then I ended up playing bass, and then I ended up buying an actual subtractive synthesizer, the Roland SH201 that's currently in my closet. I'm not going to take it out, but it's in there. If you want to see it, go to my my Instagram highlight where I go over all of my gear. But it like made me into it got me more into like keyboards and synthesizers and stuff like that. But I was never necessarily a piano player or pianist. It was more like I wanted to make music, and keyboards were extremely low access. Like the gate of entry for keyboards is easy. You can go into like a Goodwill or a Savers and find a keyboard for like $12 where you're not necessarily going to find an upright bass or a saxophone or something like that. And since I was broke, keyboards were just easier and more accessible. And then I started playing in bands or whatever, but I didn't actually start pursuing music and making songs and releasing songs until like late senior year in high school, and after I graduated and started going to college. That's when I actually started making music. I felt like everybody was so active in high school. They were in bands and stuff, but when I was in high school, I just wanted to play video games kind of and be left alone. I wanted to like go to the arcade. I wanted to eat pizza and candy. I wanted to watch anime. I wanted I didn't really want to do anything productive. So a lot of the people that are like, I've been playing drums since I was 8 years. I don't understand those people. I don't understand that mindset. My brain, I didn't care about music until way later. Okay, so it's a weed whacker. It's a weed whacker and a leaf blower at the same time. For anybody that was wondering what the noise was. It was near 1920. Omni is yes. Yes, it was the 1920s. Yeah, this is a short answer. This is a short answer. Okay, understandable. Learning music is usually a rocky experience as even so, but yeah, I didn't really know. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't. All I know is I cared a lot about a thing, kind of like DDR or Street Fighter or anything else I got into. All I know is I really liked a thing, and I kept giving time to it because it made me happy. And then eventually I just ended up being pretty good at it. But it wasn't necessarily a goal-oriented thing. When I first started messing around in FL Studio, I didn't even know what a producer was. If somebody shook my hand and said, "Hi, I'm a music producer," I would go, what does that mean? Do you own a record label? Are you Fallout Boy? Are you the Fallout Boy? I don't know what a music producer was. All I knew was there was a piece of software on my computer that made games, RPG Maker, and there was a piece of software on my computer that made music, FL Studio. And I could somehow maybe fuse them together and make Final Fantasy maybe if I was good enough. But anywho, uh, y'all might be interested in some news I just saw laid on us, Lindsay, while I go over a bit of news that I have. I've still been working my way through commissions. Today is going to be a pretty busy work day, actually, so I'm not going to be going out and about. For those of you that have been looking at my line story, because I don't update my Instagram story as much anymore. I'm all about my line story. For those of you that have been looking at that, you might have noticed I was out running errands all day yesterday. But today I'm probably going to be in the house for the majority of the day, taking care of business. I'm not the Fallout Boy. However, I feel like... But I love Fallout Boy. That's what pissed me off. Not the band. The character. The comic book character from the Simpsons universe. I liked Fallout Boy. Radioactive Man and Fallout Boy were hilarious to me. And I feel like when the Fall Out Boy band came out, I was like, oh, this is sick. It's like a Simpsons reference. They're probably going to make funny Simpsons references in their music. And they didn't. And then I thought, oh, maybe their fans are all Simpsons people, and I'm going to be able to get along with the fans because they're going to be big Simpsons fans. And they weren't. And I had to deal with some people coming up to me and going like, oh, did you know that Fall Out Boy's name is actually from The Simpsons? It's a reference. They're so smart. And they watch an old cartoon. I was like, yeah, I got that reference. I like The Simpsons. I don't even necessarily like this band that much, but you looked it up on Wikipedia, and now you're trying to feed me, so you're not even a Simpsons head. Anyways, Fall Out Boy's cool. I do like the Fall Out Boy character design. It's just like he just looks like bad Robin. It looks like somebody he's a parody of Robin. Anyways, a new game was just announced. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and it's basically the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. The soundtrack is even by oh my god, Lindsay, please tell me it's not on Switch. What is it on? Please tell me it's not on freaking Switch. What is it on? I don't want to have to buy a Switch. It's not coming out this year, but it was indeed announced. I was going to bring that up. Thanks for mentioning it, Lindsay. Says Cyber. Oh yeah, it's on Steam right now. You want to check it. Here I am. I thought Fall Out Boy was a reference to the games. Sorry. It's a Simpsons reference. I changed my Twitter name to celebrate Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Oh, that's pretty funny. What's wrong with the Switch? Says Mobtown. I like it. Nothing's wrong with the Switch, Mobtown. Nothing's wrong with the Switch. Nothing's wrong with the Switch. I mean, a lot of things are, but I wasn't saying that because something was wrong with it. I was just saying that because I don't have one, and I have no plans on getting one, and so that means that I would have to buy a Switch and then buy Cyberpunk. I would much rather just have it be on PlayStation since I'm already going to buy one of those. You should try it sometimes. It's pretty dope. I've definitely tried it, Mobtown. I've definitely tried it. I don't enjoy it. I do like the games. I do like some of the games that exist on Switch. However, some of the games that I really like on Switch, i.e. Overcooked or whatever, also exist on PlayStation, so I just bought them on PlayStation. There's very few Switch exclusives that I have loved enough to purchase that console, which I don't like playing. I don't like the way the Switch feels. I don't like the way it feels. That's so sad, because yeah, there are some good games on it. But I don't like the way it feels. It feels really cheap. And it's not very cheap. It's quite pricey. So, I wish people had played Lethal League Blaze. Hideki also did that soundtrack, says Umbe. Yeah, I haven't played that, but I do like Hideki a lot, so maybe I should play that. They have a PS4-like controller if you're interested. They do have a PS4-like controller. I am not interested. I am interested. The problem is, here's the problem. I don't like auxiliary things that make a thing palatable to me, if that makes sense. If somebody was like, here's a cool keyboard, and I'm like, that's sick. And then somebody was like, here's a bagpipe, but it has keys on it, so you can play it as if it was a keyboard. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to play the keyboard. I'm going to play the keyboard, and then if I want to play bagpipes, I'll learn how to play bagpipes. I just don't want to buy a bunch of, auxiliary stuff to make the Switch feel good. I would like for the Switch to just feel good, because at that point, I'm paying, like $450 to get a game, then a Switch, and then this auxiliary stuff. just to like, it's like, no, I'd rather not. Or rather, my wallet would rather not, I should say. If this stuff was free or cheap, then I would consider it. I've really only used PS4 for Persona 5. What is that? Is that what you're saying? Persona 5? I don't know. Games be expensive. Games are expensive. It's just unfortunate because somebody was like, "Yo, you got to get the Switch," and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "There's a sick indie game out on it." And I'm like, "Oh, what's it called?" And they're like, "Oh, it's called Overcooked." And I'm like, "Oh, sick." And then I look it up. It's on PlayStation. I'm like, oh, "Okay, I'm gonna play it on this instead, cheaper." And they're like, "Oh my god, have you played this game Hollow Knight on Switch?" And I'm like, "What?" And then I look it up and I'm like, "Oh, it's on PlayStation. I'm just gonna buy it and play it." And they're like, "Oh, sick." It's just so rare that somebody recommends me a game on Switch. I play the game on Switch, and then I think to myself, "Oh, I want to own this." Like, I don't really like Splatoon. I don't really play Smash. I'm not a big Smash fan. If we're at a party and people are playing Smash, I'll play it, but I don't really like it enough to buy a console. I don't like Mario games, period. Um, Breath of the Wild seems like it's pretty fun, but I'm not going to buy an entire new console just for one game. So, yeah. But I have played Hollow Knight. I'm a big fan of Hollow Knight. I do like Hollow Knight a lot. Mm-mm-mm. The soundtrack to Hollow Knight is inspiring. It's very, very good. It's a very good soundtrack. I do love it. But that is it. That's so. If there is indeed, which there seems to have been confirmed, that there's a game coming out that Hideki did the soundtrack of, I really would prefer that it not be exclusive to Switch. It can be on Switch, it's fine, but I would like for it to be cross-platform at the very least, or maybe a PlayStation game, since that is the thing that I do have and am going to buy another of. I haven't touched Hollow Knight yet. I've heard so many good things about it. It's pretty good, Chibi. There are a few things about that game that I don't like, but when I say few, I mean very few. And every game has things about it I don't like. Um, all things considered, Hollow Knight was a fun experience. I like games that are challenging and also beautiful. And I also don't really like Dark Souls. So this was like my way of getting that before Sekiro came out. It was like that my way of getting like a difficult game that was fun, that wasn't Dark Souls. Also, I will say about Hollow Knight does this really weird thing where like games can be hard, but I have to feel powerful. If that sounds stupid. Games like Devil May Cry make you feel super powerful and like overpowered, and in fact, it makes you feel cool and suave as you're killing things. It feels like it's so effortless. But in Hollow Knight, it's a challenge, but you still feel good. Like you feel like you have agility and speed and power. Whereas in something like Dark Souls, I don't really feel that. I feel like I'm like a character in Silent Hill, where it's like I'm being handicapped specifically to make the game harder, instead of. Anyways, it's pretty and intriguing, says Even Sub. It is. If you like exploring and challenges, you'll like it, says Even Sub about Hollow Knight. It captures the aesthetic of the original Jet Set Radio, not future, which looks even cool. Which is cool, even though they've only shown like 15 seconds of footage. Cyber, I don't like Jet Set Radio Future. Hot take, I like Jet Set Radio. The sequel that was on Xbox, I do not care for. So, if it looks closer to the original, then yeah, that sounds great for me. I'm more game to play something that's more inspired by the original than the sequel. Ghost of Tsushima, you played it yet? Well, Mobtown Tokyo, let's talk about that for 2 seconds. I drove around yesterday on my errands, and then at the end of my errands, I was like, I've earned a treat. So I went to GameStop to buy Ghost of Tsushima, and they were sold out. And I went to another GameStop to buy it, and they were sold out. And I went to a third GameStop to buy it, and they were sold out. And then that third guy said, hey, actually, we don't stock it unless people pre-order it. So if you want it, you have to pre-order it. And I thought to myself, do I want to pre-order it and then go to GameStop and pick it up? Or do I want to just get it from Amazon? I'm going to get it from Amazon. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, Omni, why don't you just buy it off the PlayStation Store and download it instead of buying it physical? Well, I'm weird and I like to have physical game cases so I can put them in my stupid little game rack. I don't like everything being data, so I'm probably going to maybe order it off of Amazon sometime this week. But no, I have not played it yet, and I've been avoiding any like videos all my friends are posting of it. But yeah, it's really hard to get games in LA at GameStop, and especially now with the quarantine thing, a lot of GameStop aren't stocking things unless they're pre-ordered. Like, they don't even get sent stuff unless it's been pre-ordered. So It's not like you go in and there's a whole rack full of things. It's like you go in, they're like, okay, what was your pre-order? And you tell them. Otherwise, they're not going to have it unless it's some random used game. So I missed having a shelf of all the newest games that even sub. Word. Half-Life is cool, Lindsay, because at the time, all the FPS games were designed with non-stop action at the time, and Half-Life made the narrative and game design choices to make you think before you act. True, Cyber, it was truly ahead of its time, and a lot of games have taken point from it since then, like Bioshock. I mean, that's having its own line, blah, blah, blah. GameStop, more like Games Stop, says Cyber, which is a very good joke. I have not really liked GameStop for many years, and I was actually hoping that this quarantine would kill GameStop, which I think is actually more of a plague on the gaming industry than it is like a paragon or a beacon of hope. It's been bad. It's been bad with GameStop. I loved Half-Life. I played it after the ones on the orange box, and it was interesting playing in that order. Word up, Lindsay. Last physical game I bought was Animal Crossing New Horizons, says Mobtown Tokyo. Last physical game I bought was Control, which was amazing. Last physical game I bought was Kingdom Hearts 3, says Liana. I love physicals. So yeah, I do buy the physical game. I think I've gone over news. I'm gonna really quickly do Hush Hour because I'm getting hungry. And I have some chorizo left, and I think I have one potato left. So I think I'm just gonna make like a chorizo, potato, cheese, black bean, like burrito thing. I think for me it was actually Persona 5 2, since it was a pretty steel book version. Oh, nice. Like collector's edition. I need to see how you make your Chick-fil-A sandwich, says. Oh, we call it a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Oh no. Oh no. Thank you, Easy Door, for being in the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I need a tutorial, says Mobtown. I mean, it's pretty simple. You marinate a chicken breast, and it's don't. Okay, first of all, we're not calling it a Chick-fil-A sandwich, all right? We're not. That's the thing we're not gonna do, because Chick-fil-A marinates their chicken breast in pickle juice, and they put powdered sugar in their batter, and I do neither of those things. So, you marinate your chicken breast. I marinate my chicken breast in like 5 different hot sauces, and also lemon juice and vinegar and some other stuff. There's some other stuff in there that I can't think of right now. Vinegar. There's soy sauce in there. Anyways, you marinate it for a day or two, and then you get like some flour and just other stuff. You know, I take like flour and like Cajun pepper. No, I'm sorry, Cajun seasoning, and then cayenne pepper and paprika and seasoning salt and black pepper and other things that I'm sure I'm forgetting right now, because I have them all like grouped together in the same spot in my cabinet. So when I'm making my breading, I just put them all in. But yeah, you just put some stuff in there. You put your chicken breast that's all marinated in like some flour, and then you do it in some egg that you've beat, egg yolks to make it sticky, and then you do it in your paprika and all your mix, and then you maybe do it again in the egg thing, and then you put some panko breadcrumbs on it, or if you have some own breadcrumbs that you've made, you do that. You fry it in some vegetable oil or canola oil, and then you take a brioche bun or a pretzel bun. Sometimes I'll take like sandwich bread that has like pickles already in it, and then I'll put either sriracha, I'll mix that in with it, or I'll do one of the Hot Ones sauces, because I have like the Last Dab and stuff like that from that show Hot Ones. So I'll like mix it with some of that. I'll put that on the top bun. I mean, you butter and toast the buns, then you put that on there, and you like chop a tomato, you put like spinach or like butter lettuce. Lately I've been using more butter lettuce than spinach, but I think I'm going to switch back to spinach because I am anemic. And I need to get my iron. And I don't know. Anyways, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. You might mess up the first couple of times, but after the first couple of times, it's super easy. Anywho, word. I hope you all end up having a wonderful day. What I just played was a song called Hush Hour that marks the last piece of the stream. This has been Morning Medley number 183, Wednesday's stream. We only have tomorrow, and then we have another production stream coming up, so that's pretty exciting. Get to work on some more stuff in OBS. Guys, I want to thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. Now, Lindsay, if you did still want to ask your question, you can go for it. I'm not going to cut it off. I'll give people a chance to answer your question, but that's only if you still want to ask it. But I do want to thank people for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It is really nice to have a good, clean, up until maybe this point, if Lindsay has this question, a good, clean stream. I do appreciate you guys for always respecting the space. But, you know, she's going to ask, oh no, I'm showing restraint. Oh, so I can grill you tomorrow on what I actually want to grill you about. Word. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I won't be here tomorrow, says Kiwi. Yeah, Kiwi won't be here tomorrow. Kiwi's going to miss the grilling, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. It's been a long stream. We almost did a 3-hour stream today, which I'm not proud of, but I hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'm going to spend mine working on music and trying to stave off a headache. I'll start my own stream if I want to be nasty. What? All right. Well, have a good day, everyone. When it's Thursday, where you live. When it's Thursday, where you live. Oh crap! It's already Thursday where you are. My bad. Even sub. Well, I hope everybody does have a good rest of the stream. Everybody should tune into Lindsay's nasty stream because I do support Lindsay in everything. I don't support Lindsay in grilling meat, but if Lindsay wants to grill and Lindsay wants to have a nasty stream, I support Lindsay in both of these things. I'm gonna go make some breakfast. I'm starving, guys. I'm starving. But I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. for Morning Medley number 184 on Thursday. Abo everybody. You may message me on Twitter later. Wait, hold on. On Twitter, I need a music question later. Yeah, go for it, Mobtown. If I don't answer, because I have been kind of avoiding Twitter lately, if I don't answer it, or if you don't get a response, and you are in like tomorrow's stream or any of the other streams, hopefully you remember then, because I'm open to answering it, whatever it is. Abo everybody.